Spooky. Hi, Sophia. Welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway and your channel for lots of Halloween fun tonight. I'm not going to go into the spiel. We got a lot going on tonight. We really want to get into this. So welcome, Sophia. Welcome, Cordia. Dalibor, good to have you with us. Hope, always a pleasure. Grandpa Brian, love seeing your face. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Although we can barely see Teresa, she's a bit of an apparition tonight. So, yeah, hope you don't have any nightmares on that one. Woo! Hey, let's go to chat. We're going to chat.
Bring your candy?
Yes. All right, hello, candy? Susie Q. Good to see you. Max G, hello, sir. Good evening. Welcome. Let's see, who else do we have? Ray, hello, Ray. If you want to come on in, share your story, all you have to do is click on that link in chat for you, and we'll bring you on. Let's see, and if anybody else wants to come in and tell their story, we got a lot happening. Hello, Elderberry. Good to see you, Barry. Let's see, who else? I think that's pretty... Oh, Mark Arkspark. Good to see you as well, brother. Thanks for being here. Gonna have a little fun tonight and just chill out with the group. Okay. Well, we've got a lot going on. Teresa, do you want to introduce Cordia? She's new to the chat, or new to being on the channel, but she's been a long time viewer.
That's right. Cordia Jane Stewart, as many of you know her from the chat
Come on down.
With Scotty Roberts and Rocky Stucci and the gang. A lot of you have met her maybe briefly when she made an appearance once on Scotty's. And she's getting over her shyness and has agreed to come on and share her story about orbs, because she has been seeing spirits, interacting with spirits, and had been surrounded by them ever since she was a child. In fact, she told me the other day, instead of seeing auras, or maybe in addition to seeing auras, she sees these orbs hovering over other people. She sees them when she's praying or meditating to heal other people. They just show up and surround her. She believes there's some type of guardian for her, and maybe even be an angelic or some other type of presence that is looking after her and has probably done so all her life, and maybe even in her past lives. So she has a few photos, and today I asked her to send one in, the most recent one, and you'll see a couple of orbs in the photos. And just to give you an idea, and then she can tell you a little bit more about herself and her story about the orbs. Go ahead, my dear.
How are you guys doing? It's an honor, and thank you so much.
Glad to have you with us, Cordia. We're very curious to hear about your, and I've got some pictures. You had mentioned something about being able to see the orbs, and I'm going to show this picture really quick. And you
can go ahead, sweetheart.
Down a little bit. You got it. So, in the upper left-hand corner there, it looks like that might be like a planet or something, but that's actually an orb. And let me show you this.
Yeah, that's total cloud cover.
Yeah, a little difficult to see, but you want to talk about that? You're seeing the orbs?
Yeah, that day was a beautiful day. I was having, good feedback from family and friends and people that had been going through a hard time, and it's like I was getting all kinds of good news. So it's like when I saw them, I asked them, I said, just wait, I got to prove this. Nobody's going to believe me unless I have a picture. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I took the picture, I didn't notice the orb in the dark part of the photo, which is around the apple trees, which is a fairy ring on one of them. I've posted it before. But as soon as I snapped the picture, that orb disappeared. So I thank them, and, it just helped me a little bit, Yeah.
You've been seeing these your whole life?
Yeah, the first time I remember seeing the lights, I was about maybe 3. And I remember my parents, I was laughing at the lights. They were just like bouncing all around and everything. And And it's like my parents came over and wanted to know what I was giggling at. They were walking all around me, trying to follow my eyes, and they just gave up and went and sat down, and eventually, I don't remember any more than that, but I'm sure they stopped and I stopped giggling or something.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
love
it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, you say that you sense two different energies, opposing energies, the yin and the yang, when you're observing these orbs.
Yeah,
That there's always something dark behind it, but in the front is the light and the energy.
Well, I always feel like I can sense the energies around me as far as people's moods and how they feel and stuff like that. But if there's a heavy, negative feeling, I guess you would call it, it's like, I'm always looking and seeing why it's there or trying to figure it out. And if I'm despaired, if I'm hurting for someone or myself, I sense both energies, at times.
Yeah. Now, we did a blow up of that orb, Laurie, today, and I have it here, but we did a blow up of it. And what's interesting, because when I first looked at the photo, I thought, oh, that's a star or that's a planet. I'm like, well, that's an awfully close planet, and I looked even closer at it today, and I'm like, that's like a butt. It has a three-dimensional quality to it. Oh, it's somebody's soccer ball up in the air, So I blew it up, and what I got was exactly that, a three-dimensional round object. You could see the rim around it, but it had a very bright light in the very center of it. It had no geometry to it, like a Merkaba. It had no faces, like a ghost or anything in there, or a spirit. It was just a big ball, and in the very center was a pinpoint of a very bright, almost star energy to it. And I sent that to Laurie, and it's like, look at that strange light in the middle of this thing. Nothing looks like it's spinning or rotating. There's no branches coming off of it like you would see with a star or reflection from a camera lens. It was a perfectly round puffball in the sky. Now the one down below you can barely see because it's being absorbed by the darkness of the shrubs in front of the tree.
Yeah, it is difficult.
Yeah, it is. And
but
that
you
one
can
I
still
did
see them.
Yeah. But when you start to blow those up, because they're so small, it gets pixelated, the shape gets lost. But at one point, I got it just perfect where you could see a face. And that face was a young man with a wisp of hair coming over his brow ridge. And he had a very chiseled look about him, and he had some slightly pointed ears, almost like an elfin type look about it. And I lost all view of it, Laurie, when I brought it over to the large screen here on the laptop. There was so much dark, it just got absorbed. You couldn't make it out at all. Yeah. But if you look at it on a cell phone, I sent it to Cordia, and when you look at it on a cell phone, you can clearly see this face. And it wasn't a dark face. It wasn't an unhappy face, but it wasn't an overly happy face either. He was just staring, floating and staring. And Cordia didn't even notice that particular orb when she took the photo. It's so obscure. So she's surrounded by more than one up here at a time. And Cordia, didn't you say that you see them in broad daylight walking down the middle of a public location on the street, or you see them when you go to a fair or a festival?
Yeah, it doesn't matter where I go, what state, anybody's house or anything like that. And I never know when I'm going to see them. But like my son and I went to Kentucky to visit a place where we used to camp a lot. We kind of took care of the campgrounds for the owners and stuff. And we did a lot of camping. I had my children there when they were babies. It was around Cumberland Falls, that area. And we went just back to camp out and, get back into the mountains and stuff. And I had taken a picture of one of my sons, Eric. And this is broad daylight. And when we looked at the picture on the phone, we could see a blue orb above his hand where he was expressing himself for the picture or whatever, And it's like, I'm like, wow, Eric, look at this. And, he was amazed too. He said, oh, I see him sometimes too, Mom. So, We had to go at that and
Interesting.
enjoyed, our visit there.
Interesting.
Let me just break in for a second. We just heard from Sophia. She has a lousy connection. When she came in, she had her witch's hat and was ready to party tonight.
I can relate.
Sophia has graduated a level and has earned her place as seeker at Camp Chesterfield. There's a special ceremony for her tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, I believe it is. Right, Brian?
Well, congratulations, Sophia.
Congratulations, Sophia.
Congratulations. You worked hard for it.
Yeah, you worked hard, and we're very proud of you, and we support you 100%. Wish we could be there to join in on your festivities. So I even bought candy treats just for you tonight, Sophia. So best of luck tomorrow and enjoy yourself.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Good time. So Hope has some very interesting video, and she's got quite a story to tell us. So what I'm going to do is, do you want to give us a little breakdown on that, Hope? Where were you? What was going on? What was the situation before I show this, to kind of get people a chance to know what happened to you?
Yes.
Okay.
It was in October of 2017.
Okay.
And we had gone to, it was a historical house. It was built in the 1800s, but at that time it was not open. They only open it at certain times to the public. It is also on a very sacred Native American land, so the energy is very high. So my friends and I were there, and it wasn't open, so we were going to look around and look in the windows. And I said to my friends, "You watch. I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to look in the window, and I bet a spirit jumps out and scares the crap out of me." Well, that's what happened.
Whoa!
As I got up to the window with my camera, it was something appeared, which you're going to see it. And later, a friend of mine had said it was a sprite, and that it was attracted to our energies. And we tried to debunk it and everything, but it was clearly there and looking at us through the window. And I even took pictures like afterwards where the chair was inside the window and there was nothing there. And you can tell that it's an apparition because you can see through it. It's not a bug or anything. So,
right. So here's the window you're looking through.
It was amazing.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you can tell that this is, she's on the other side of the glass. When she takes this video, she's picking something up through the glass because it's quite remarkable, actually. And then here's the inside of the house, and you can tell this house is very old. The reason I say that is because if you look in the background here, you can see the fire stove, the wood stove there, and that definitely looks like 1800s to me.
It's from the 1800s.
Yeah. Interesting. So when you watch this video, go ahead, Hope. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Before we came to this very high energy place, we also had gone to a private home and did a very sacred medicine fire. So our energies were very, very high. And I think this entity, whatever it was, just was very attracted to our high vibration.
Your high vibes. Yep, no doubt. All right. Now, when you're watching this video, you're going to see this blue kind of shape. It's kind of shaped like this, and it's going to move really interesting. Just watch that blue shape and tell me if you've ever seen anything move like this before. And I'll play it a couple times, but here we go. Okay. You folks ready for this one? Here we go. All right.
Is it something in the reflection or what?
I don't see anything back here. I don't see anything back here that could be any reflection. No, that's...
Okay, I'm staying still. Oh my God, what is it?
Oh God, she did it the other way. I can't see.
Look, I'm staying still and it's still moving. Look, it's moving its head.
It's moving its What the? Is it a cat? No. What is it?
I don't know. Look behind me and see if there's anything in my reflection.
There's nothing back there that would be like that. Nothing. Unless there's something back here flying around. Turn my phone around.
I'm done recording, and then I'm going to try to see, how do I zoom it?
There's nothing back here.
Look, I'm not getting anything. Look. All right, so
Oh,
zoom.
what did you
All right,
find?
come here. Come here. Oh, look. Look, look, look.
It's flying
Look,
around
look.
again.
What is it?
What's it doing? What is it, a bat?
All right, I'm going to take a picture. I zoomed it. I hope it doesn't.
Okay, so this is crazy because the way this light, okay, so the first thing I thought was, oh, this is a camera flare and the way she's moving it. But when that thing moved on the end and she goes, oh, look, it's moving its head. That's what got me going, no, that's not normal. Because if it was a reflection, you just see that reflective look to it. But when it moves, that's paranormal to me. So let's look at that one more time because it is fascinating.
And it looked right
Is it
at
something
me.
in the reflection or what the?
I don't see anything back here. I don't see anything back here that could be any reflection. No,
Okay,
that's...
I'm staying still. Oh my God, what is it?
Oh, God, she did it the other way.
Look, I'm staying still and it's still moving. Look, it's moving its head.
It's moving its head. What the? Is it a cat? No. What is it?
I don't know. Look behind me and see if there's anything in my reflection.
There's nothing back there that would be like that. Nothing. Unless there's something back here flying around. How did she do this? She turned my phone around.
I'm done recording, and then I'm going to try to see, how do I zoom it?
There's nothing back here.
Look, I'm not getting anything. Look. All right, so
Oh,
zoom.
what did you
All right,
find?
come here. Come here. Oh, look. Look, look, look.
It's flying
Look,
around
look.
again.
What is it?
What's it doing? What is it, a bat?
All right, I'm going to take a picture. I zoomed it. I hope it doesn't.
And that color is really interesting.
Yeah.
Hi, Hannah.
Here's Sophia. She's back.
And Sophia. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff, though.
Well, we blew up that picture for Hope, and we did a still frame and blew it up, and she sent us a couple singles shots.
Uh-huh.
And when we looked at it, it looked like a worm shape, but underneath was like a stem that came out underneath of it at an angle. Excuse me, this way at an angle. And you could see a head. And at first I only saw the one head, and I got a feminine energy off of it. It looked very female-like. And below that was another head that looked male. And I said, Hope, I think you've caught an elemental or a sprite. Like, she thought it was a sprite, and I said, I think it is some type of elemental. And it looks very elfin-like with the ears and the shape of the nose and the jawline. And one was in profile, and the other was more of a head-on look about it, like it had just moved its head. So I must have caught that frame right when it was moving its head. And so one was profiled, the male figure was profiled. That's what it looked like to me. Now, I wasn't there, I wasn't the direct observer, but as I'm looking at the photo and playing with the background and brightness of it, you could make out the whole shape of it. So do they happen to know if they have a history of that there, Hope? Is there any history about fairies or sprites or elementals? Or?
I have no idea, because every time I've gone, this house has been closed. They only open it every once in a while, like once or twice a year, to do tours. So I have no idea. And I was not expecting that at all, even though I was joking and said, oh, watch, I'm gonna look in here and a ghost is gonna scare the crap out of me. And it really did. It was like, I almost dropped the phone.
Yeah.
Well, I made a connection between.
And I never told anyone there.
Yeah, you never told them? Yeah. Well, when you take a look at your photo,
nobody's ever seen it.
And you take a look at Cordia's blown up, the faces are very familiar. They're very similar in shape.
Oh, wow.
The nose, the jawline, the ears, they're very similar. So I think you both picked up some type of an elemental. That's what they look like to me anyway. But we can't show them on here because they get lost in the size of the screen and the absorption.
Yeah, it's really difficult
because it's so dark.
Really
so dark.
Yeah. Sophia, it's good for you to join us tonight. I know you've been having some trouble. We were just congratulating you on your seeker status. So wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Way to go. You go.
Yay, we're excited.
Right on. I know you worked hard for it. So fantastic.
Right on. I got to give a shout out to Black Raven Meditations because my little puck metered out on me. And she's like, you have a hot spot. I'm like, if you end up with a $2,000 phone bill, I'm going to hate myself.
Way to go. Right on.
Wow.
That's cool.
Hi, Hannah Bird. Love you. All right, let's get to it. Let's do
it. And also, Hannah, it's good to have you on. I'm glad you popped in. I see you in chat. I know you watched the channel.
Yes,
Grandpa Brian says you've got a ghost story for us.
I have two, if you don't
Okay. Absolutely. You go for it.
Yeah.
One of them is one of them is my mom's story that fascinates me. I knew that ghosts, or the idea of ghosts. First of all, I just wanted to say that I'm very grateful to be here to join you guys.
That's wonderful to have you. It's our pleasure.
We're happy to have you. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Hannah. And it's good to put a name with a face.
Thank you. I think I was.
And you, Brian, right? You guys are connected through. Is it all my relation?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Black Raven.
Save the day.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yay! Thanks for helping.
That's Black Raven. Oh wow, that's Black Raven. Hi, nice to meet you.
Awesome.
Hi.
Let me rematerialize. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. It's beautiful.
Awesome. All right, Hannah's got a couple of stories for us, and thank you for being here, Hannah. We appreciate you.
Thank you. No problem. So I think I was about 7 or 8, and I was in my basement. And first of all, whenever I went into the basement when I was a young girl, it would always be like this heavy energy, and I couldn't really put like a name to it or like a feeling.
I know that one. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I associated it with fear, but now it's a different story. But
the hair on your neck pops up. You feel like somebody's breathing down your neck, like they're trying to get you to hurry up and get out of there. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we had like our Wii console in the basement. I was playing this game on the Wii, and I was on the couch, and just a summer day, and this electric feeling started flooding the air, and I was like, what is happening?
And
kinetic
energy.
And the TV started it froze, and it made like a sound. It froze.
Ooh.
My console stopped working, and I was like, what is going on? And I looked because we had windows, in basements they had those high windows.
Yeah. Yep.
How do I describe this? Somebody, a man 6 foot, wearing farmer or pilgrim clothes, was in front of me, but in between me and the TV, and he was staring at me he knew that he was dead, conscious.
Wow.
And he knew that I was there, and he just staring at me, and I'm like, what is happening? And I blinked, and it circled around the couch twice, and it kind of came closer and closer, but I could see through him, and it was this dark shadow, as if he was human right there, but black, and you could see through it. But how the mirror, it was kind of the light of the window was forming this human-esque shadow figure. It was weird. Moved, the light would distort.
Could you see through it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I blinked, and it circled around the couch again. and I was frozen. I was in fear, and I'm gonna call my dog. I was like, call my mom, and I started screaming at my sister and my mom and my dog, as you do.
Okay.
And I turned around, and then I turned back around. The TV was black. My car turned off, and the guy was not there.
Wow.
So I had the opportunity to run upstairs, and I was like, Mom, I think our house is haunted. And I'm like freaking out, and Mom's like, okay, whatever, you know. And then, I calmed down, and I was like, no, I think the land is haunted. And then recently I looked it up, and like we had like a lot of farmers in this area, and it's haunted. This land is.
So he's like, what the heck are you doing here? And why are you here? And yeah, I have a very similar story to that. Interesting. Wow.
Strange.
That's neat.
It was really cool. It kind of solidified like ghosts in a way. Like wow. And I still feel him from time to time. He's not scary.
Oh, so you're still in the same house?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Have you? So that was going to be my next question. Have you ever tried to communicate, or do you still feel that energy, or what's the present situation?
The basement. My mom has recently said that she's always felt weird in the basement, and then recently, my sister was like, "Have you ever seen a 6 foot tall guy?"
Ooh.
And I'm like, "Yeah." And so it's like a known thing in the family. My sister called him Jerry. I don't.
Okay. So you nicknamed him. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Did you have another one?
Yes, I did. And it's
all right.
A little scary.
Okay.
But fascinating to me.
Okay.
It's my mom's story. But
okay.
My mom had these friends when she was in college or in high school, around early 20s. And one of her friends basically said, let's do an Ouija board in this abandoned house.
Oh, hell no. Sorry.
Don't recommend Ouija boards unless you know what you're doing, because you can really call in some energy you do not want anything to do with. And if you do, you better know your prayers of protection and know it inside and out. So
know how to do that when you're done.
Because you can open a doorway, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's easier to call them in than it is to get rid of them. So really be seriously, cautiously aware. And if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it with someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know what they were doing.
Uh-oh.
And, and they're on the table Ouija board, like classic movie scenario. And there were guys, few girls, mom was one of them. And basically they got it started, they got it going. Let's call, I'm not sure who's all involved, but let's call one of the guys Jim and one of the guys Jerry, and let's do that.
Jim and Jerry.
And so everyone's in the circle and everyone's holding hands. I don't know the story. Not holding hands. They're underneath the table. Yeah, underneath the table. Jim goes, Jerry, stop touching me. The guy's like, I'm not touching you.
Oh my God.
Jerry, stop touching me. I'm not touching you. And it got really aggressive really quickly. Well, Jim flipped the table and he started like, why are you touching me? He's just very aggressive. And they start fighting. Well, one of them started screaming and he took off his shirt and there was like a handprint, but like it was three.
Oh, that's not good. I can tell you right now, that's not good.
It was like and one guy was.
You're lucky you didn't get scratched or.
No, someone did. someone got scratched and some guy had like a burn mark of like a 3-print hand paw print thing. And Mom basically never doing this again and never went back. And I think she's friends. But yeah, that story always fascinates me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Years ago, I was staying with some friends of mine, and we were staying at her house, and strange things would happen. Posters would be ripped off the wall. I was woken up by the bed shaking. I looked over, and the alarm clock was doing this all over the place, and I was freaking out. And talk about the basement, Hannah, as your experience was. We had a basement, and there was a gentleman who owned the house who was an airplane pilot who was killed in a head-on accident on his way to work. Had no idea he had passed. His daughter and his son were in the 2 bedrooms. So I was in the bedroom, one of the bedrooms, which was the daughter's bedroom, and her name was Laurie as well. So I think that had some kind of connection. Then a friend of mine, Randy, was in his room, and we started having weird things happening. Like you'd walk through the kitchen area and the little rug would be all messed up. And then you'd straighten it out and it'd be messed up again about 5 minutes later. And it would get to the point where you just got tired of it, fixing it. Or you'd be sitting on the couch and the curtains would move. And you're like, what the heck? So what I found out later was the guy was into trains, and he used to make them, and he had this little thing under the base in the basement, which was right underneath my room. And he spent a lot of time down there. So every time we go down to do the laundry or do anything, you just always had this feeling of dread, like get out of my space, get the hell out of here, right? So finally, my friend's mom got smart and she called in a psychic, and the psychic came in. And this was the first time I'd ever had anything to do with psychics. I didn't know what was happening. All I knew was there was a lot of paranormal. I was experiencing it, and it was a pretty freaky thing. So she comes over. She lights these candles. She says these prayers. She goes into a channel, very much like you do, Hope. She went into channel. And what she found out was that this guy had been killed. He didn't realize he was dead. He wanted to know where his family was, who the hell we were, why were we there? And she had to explain to him that he had passed and that it was okay to move on. And you could feel the energy once she got him to understand that he'd actually been killed and was dead this whole time, that it was okay to leave. This whoosh of air came through, blew the candles out. And I swear to God, I almost peed my pants because it was so freaking scary. And I was like, I moved out a few days later. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
I would have too. I would have been gone that night.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's what triggered my fascination with paranormal. Then I couldn't get enough of this stuff. I just started learning about it and experiencing it. But that was my first brush with anything spooky or paranormal. And that was quite the experience. Sophia, how about you? You experience anything like that? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I mean, every day is spooky in varying degrees and intensities. I mean, but I can tell you the first time that I experienced spirit, I was in my grandparents' house, which my dad was raised in. And there was a library in the front of the house. And I was just so compelled to sleep there. It used to be my dad's bedroom, unbeknownst to me at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my dad was born on the cusp of magic. So there's some foreshadowing a little bit. But anyway, I'm like, Dad, let me sleep in there. He's like, no. And 2 more times I asked him, he's like, no. And then I'm like, about to throw a fit. So he's like, fine. Don't you want to sleep with your mom or your sister? He's like, fine. So I get in there and I'm all snuggled, all victorious with my 5-year-old having self. And I'm laying there. I know it. Can you imagine? So I'm laying there and I fall asleep. All is well. And then I woke up wide awake. And if anybody knows me, I am not a morning person, kids. No. So eyes fly open. Not really sure what time it was, but I feel it was like 2 in the morning or something like that. And I look at the end of my bed and there are 5 beings hooded, standing there, looking over me and being born psychic. I hear, well, just look at her. Just look at her. And I'm just sitting there going, oh. And
Mommy,
I couldn't even move. And she's all the way in the back of the house. So even if I could,
Dad?
anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? If I can't see them, they can't see me. Thoughts are things. Energy follows thought. I pulled the cover over my head and was like, I got to go back to sleep. So I went back to sleep, unbelievably, frozen solid. And I told my dad about this when I was about 30, when I finally had the balls to tell him he was right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he goes, well, you know what's happened in that room and why I didn't want you to sleep in there. I'm like, oh, this ought to be good.
Oh God.
And he was like, in my senior year of high school, I'm sitting there doing my homework, and right to my left and beside me, this huge column of light came down and just spiraled next to me, and he had a face come out of it, and then the column evaporated and went away. And I was like, well, and told him what happened. He was like, you never listen and you usually learn the hard way, so good for you. Kind of like
you're like, thanks, Pop.
right. But
wow,
there's some more, but that's the youngest experience.
I can't believe being that young and seeing something like that.
No.
And then hearing them say that. Did you ever figure out who they were or what they wanted? Did you ever get that figured out later in life?
Well, I'm just going to tilt my hand because I can, and I really don't care. But I come from a long line of Masons. Okay. And my parents were older when they had me, and I feel that my grandfather prayed for me to be born. And I feel that those were like either ascended energies or guides or, past ancestors, because they were all hooded and it was like dark and iridescent and flowing. And whenever I interact with spirit, the gravity in the room changes. There's like some magnetism. That's when, I'm doing other activities. I know when I have a good connection, because you get the willy bumps in the arm and stuff, like that. But yeah, obviously ancestors, guides, I don't know, but I wasn't initially afraid until I felt the difference. And then I was like, what is this? But 5 years old, I didn't sleep in that room anymore, for the record.
Wow.
I wouldn't have.
How about you, Black Raven? You've got a story to tell?
Oh, okay.
Pick me.
Thank you. So yeah, I was about the age, about 4 or 5 years old. I was laying in my bed one night. It was a stormy night. And I remember just being like kind of going to bed by the lull of the thunderstorm, and I remember just laying there, and all of a sudden I was awakened, and I looked up in my my doorway, and there was a black figure there, and he was standing with his arm kind of like this and a hat on. And he goes, I go, Dad? And then all of a sudden I felt this sense of calm go over me. Before I knew it, I woke up in the morning. What was really interesting about this, though, and this has happened several times throughout my life, is literally the next morning, my parents kind of come in and they're like, a little agitated. And they realize by the end, whenever I get back from school, they're like, we have to move. 2 weeks later, I was hit by a tornado and 2 people died. This has happened several times throughout my life as well. So it's always been I just feel like it's like a blessing, like a guardian just kind of shows up when I need it, and like
protection. Yep.
Be with that.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of my first memories too.
You never had any idea who that might be or how they protected you, or later did you kind of have a sense of who it might have been, if anyone, that you knew?
I feel that energies and essences are brought to us in an energetic way right at the time we need them to. Right? If we listen to the sound and play, along with the game, right? And I've just been I've been blessed from a very young age to be very in tune with my higher self and know that that's good. So I just followed it. And I feel just because energies, I don't necessarily always know who they are or if they come back. I just know that that energy just kind of shows up when it needs to, and it goes and does what it does.
So you're open to it and you're like accepting of it. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, obviously protecting you. That's wonderful. Yeah. Awesome. Dalibor, I'm
well,
awesome. Thanks for sharing.
My first
Dalibor has some amazing stories. And just to let people know in chat, you may have heard these before, but they're really good and it's fascinating. Go for it, Dalibor.
Well, the first home I ever bought was an apartment. And this was in 1991. And unbeknownst to me, the lady that had owned it before me had passed away in it of natural causes and had been eaten by her cats inside the apartment.
So she died.
Oh, wow.
The cats were hungry and they were mowing on her.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. And the cops, when they came to do the welfare check, they had to kill all the cats because she had a lot of them.
So they're probably trying to protect her, even her body, huh?
Yeah, they were eating her body because they had nothing to eat. So, but she was a cat lover because I knew that by the fact that she had all these cat brains.
And the cats were human lovers.
Yeah, it's just preserved in formaldehyde and stuff. So the house, the apartment came with all her stuff, all the furniture, all the stuff. And I'm going through this stuff periodically. And one time I discovered like a jewelry box filled with currency. I was like, wow, some of this is quite valuable. I could trade this in at the bank. As soon as I found that, the first light bulb went out. And then, so I went outside, reset the fuse. Then the second one. This happened 10 times in rapid succession.
Wow.
At the end of it, I was just like freaking out. I was standing outside at the fuse box and I was like, should I even go in? So I go inside, figured out where my cigarette lighter was, found the last light bulb and just turned it on and it didn't go off. So I was like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll just, light a candle or something. And no other light bulbs went off since then. But, I had all this weird stuff happen to me. Like I was repairing a wall and some of the stucco came off and there was a black mark on the concrete underneath the stucco of a human hand. And then later on, another piece broke off and it was a picture of a human face, a female face.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, dude, that's got to be her. Because I didn't know at that time that she had died in the apartment. So
did you ever see pictures of her? Did you ever know what she looked like? Later?
That.
Okay.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
I started having recurring dreams. And in these dreams, there was a naked old lady who was trying to get on top of me while I was sleeping in my bed. And I saw her face distinctly. This happened many times. And so a couple of weeks later, I was at a neighbor's house and he had a picture of her. He had a picture of like a couple of people in that house. I was like, that's her. He didn't even tell me that was her, but I picked her out.
You knew.
I knew. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's a bizarre story. Yeah.
I like that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow.
So I wrote this up in an email and I sent it to Brad Steiger. And as soon as I hit the enter button to send it, I heard like a rattle in the bathroom and I go inside to check and it was like a hairbrush that had belonged to her and fallen off the side of the sink into the bottom of the sink.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I had taken that brush because it was new and it was in the plastic when I had first gotten it when I moved in.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
That's why I had it.
Like you don't want any more DNA around there, do you?
No. So it's like any mention of her causes like some paranormal phenomena to happen. And so I'm telling this story about the email and everything else to somebody else downstairs, and all of a sudden a massive thud in the room next door. And what had fallen over was by accident. My grandma had knocked it over. And it was a table that had belonged to her.
Ooh.
To the lady in that apartment.
Mm.
Crazy.
Wow. That is nuts. Have you ever experienced anything more than that since? Like,
No,
do you feel
no.
like she's passed, left?
No,
Or
I
she's
feel
still
like
kind of hanging out with you?
I think she's still hanging out with me. I think she's keeping a
Wow.
watchful eye on me.
Mm-hmm.
I really think so. Yeah.
Wow.
And because it's like I made an agreement with her, sort of, that I'll make a
Mhm.
concession to her and that I won't smoke in the bathroom.
Mhm.
She really hated that. And why? Why do I know this? Because one time I was falling asleep
Mhm.
and I distinctly heard a woman's voice in the bathroom saying, "Somebody's been smoking in here again."
That's freaky. I wonder if they can tell if you're naked or not.
I don't know, but I've
Yeah,
seen,
you know,
I've
I
seen
heard
a
they
naked
see
spirit.
colors.
Hmm? Yeah.
I'd be like, give me the shower curtain. I'm never coming out of here again. Oh my God.
Yeah, strange experience.
She
Yeah.
was like, ugh.
Well, she was strange. She was definitely strange because she wouldn't talk to anybody in any of the 14 other apartments except Christmas, when she would like bake Christmas cookies for the entire house and would, make sure everybody got their share. And she also had a nasty habit of pouring boiling water on people who would take a piss underneath her balcony. I'm like, is that even a thing? Is that kind of a strange thing?
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah,
man.
Yeah, really, really weird. And this was, like I said, this was in Brno, Czech Republic that this happened.
That has to be the most strangest story I think I've ever heard of all of them. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brian, have you had any at the cabin, or has it all been in when you were with the All My Relations folks at the store? Have you had any interaction at the cabin?
There's been a few times that I thought I have seen a shadow in the hallway between the main area and the bunk room. There was one time, until I put protection down there, I was physically attacked by, I know it was a negative energy, and it happened while I was sleeping. It actually ripped the necklace off of my neck that I had on. And I found the necklace the next morning underneath the bed at the foot of the bed, and I never woke up, so there's no way that I would have put that down there. So something had to get that off of my neck and put it down underneath the bed.
Wow.
But Monday night, I did see an orb flying across the sky, and I was like, wow, that looks like that's way up there. All of a sudden, boom, it was gone.
Yeah, I saw a couple orbs there when I was sitting out back with Luna after you went to bed that one night, that first night. Yeah. And that night that I overindulged, I couldn't go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm out back with Luna, and I'm telling you, everything that you hear in that cabin sounds freaky, okay, at nighttime. It really does.
Oh, yes.
And but Luna's ears were up, and there were these little glowing balls just kind of along the edge of the pond area. So I couldn't tell if it was your porch lights illuminating big, large flying bugs, which would have sent me running. I'm not afraid of ghosts, but man, bugs, bye. Bye. So, but I was behind the screen, so I felt relatively safe in the screened-in porch area. But I got to thinking those were probably some type of orbs or spirits.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, that cabin's freaky at night.
Yeah, there is an entity that actually protects that pond water and is around and always over that pond to make sure that water is protected.
Yeah. I wanted to share something with you, Brian. This is what I heard at night. Hang on just a second. See if I can do this real quick for you. Hope you guys can hear it. You hear that?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaky.
Do it again.
That's Brian. That's Brian sleeping.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh, you little shit.
Just kidding, it wasn't. That was a spooky.
What was that?
Because I don't know if I snore or not. I'm asleep.
Mm-hmm.
No, you've got to be one of the most quiet sleepers I've ever heard. Luna's over there. She's like louder than you are. Yeah. He's got a bunkhouse, you guys, just so you don't get the wrong impression. Brian has a bunkhouse on the side of his cabin, and it has the most air conditioning in it, and there's all these bunk beds, and he's over there on the other side. I could hear him, but I couldn't really hear him that much. I was just pulling the joke on you. And Laurie, she's back.
I think it's time for an upgrade. I'm going to buy a new computer tomorrow. I'm tired of this. I'm done.
You've had enough.
Yep.
That's for sure. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I was hearing noises all night, that place. My imagination runs wild. But I had a situation when my mom passed away. And I'm not sure if I shared it on here before. But it was shortly after she passed away. You all know the story about that, or some of you do. And she went kind of quickly. And so I was surprised when she came for a visit a few months later. And it was because, you know how they say when you stir things up, and you start remodeling, sometimes the spirits of that environment don't like it so much? Well, my dad was trying to eradicate memories of her by taking down all of her stuff. Her personal knickknacks, her belongings, photographs, the ducks that she loved so much in the kitchen, the statues of the ducks. And me, this is a long time ago, okay? So I didn't have control of myself then. But it was annoying me that he was just like every day tearing down things that belonged to her, you know? And I would say, where did the ducks go, or where did this go? I threw them in the trash. I'm like, you did what? You threw all my mom's stuff in the trash? Are you freaking kidding me? And the family had been over taking down drapes and helping to paint the rooms because of the cigarette smoke. We got rid of her mattress. We were making that bedroom his, you know? Mom didn't like it because I started hearing and experiencing and seeing. First I heard cupboard doors opening and closing. Bam! And then you'd go down the hallway, and the hallway closet door would open. Bam! And I'm like, what the hell? So I would actually stand there. I think, okay, got rats or something, you know, or rodents. But no, I'm standing there in the middle of the hallway, and a door flies open. It slams closed. I went into her bedroom. A couple days later, I went into her bedroom, and I was taking the clothes down to do a donation of her clothing. And you know those accordion doors on a cabinet? I went to pull it open to take more out, and it went bam! And it slammed against all four of my fingers, you know? And in the kitchen, the same thing was happening. Cupboard doors were opening and closing. I was like, this is like poltergeist activity, you know? And I had been on paranormal investigations, so I wasn't too freaked out. But I was more or less living alone because he was working at nights in a different location. And my niece had come over and thought she had interacted with her grandmother or had a dream about her or heard sounds and noises too. And I come to find out a little later, I could actually hear an audible. And the audible, it said, "Get out." And it was her gravelly voice. She had a very gravelly voice when she was having the lung cancer. And she said, "Get out." And I'm like, "Mom?" She said, "Get away." And then, my things. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So we weren't respecting her very much by the way we were handling it. We just came through like a bat out of hell and started tearing the house apart. So it upset her. Mm-hmm. And I asked him to stop doing it, and he thought I was nuts, and I couldn't tell the rest of the family. And they were already thinking I had issues because I was having seizures and other problems. Yeah.
How long after she had passed did this happen?
It started within. He started cleaning out right away, so it was within 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it first started, and then it got more and more aggressive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the more I fought back with it and argued with it, it got more aggressive. So I thought it was something else. I didn't think it was my mom. Mm-hmm. I didn't make the connection until I heard my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I'm like, oh, this is my mother. This is mom. So I just started apologizing I'm like, wait a minute. I was there when you passed and you saw your mother and you crossed over. So why are you still here?
Because they do hang out. They want to see what's going on. They want to see what you're up to.
Yeah,
and boy, if you're taking down her curtains and moving things around, and they don't like that. Even, I mean, being, can you imagine having your home for years and years and years, and you have things the way you like it, and suddenly somebody comes in and starts taking everything down and moving stuff? I can see why she would be upset.
And plus he lied, because I found stuff behind the wet bar downstairs in the rec room, boxes of her things that he had hidden. He told me he had thrown them out. He just didn't want me to find them and put them back out, you see. So he told me that he threw these things out. And so I slowly put back a couple things, just a couple things here and there. I told him, don't you touch these, because she's upset. And he's like, you're a Fruit Loop. And I'm like, maybe I am, but
maybe I'm not. What if I'm not?
And then again, and so after about a few weeks, it started calming down, and I started making subtle changes. You want to know what I did to you all? I started consulting her. Hey, Mom, you always like the color light blue. We're going to do your bedroom in a light blue. Would that be okay? If there wasn't any reaction or any violence, it was okay, So I started consulting her and making these changes in the house, and eventually she just moved on. Now, I don't know why it was so hard for me after that to connect with her again, but you and I have talked about that. I had personal issues, and I don't want to go into it here. But it took me a while to get to the point where I was able to come back around to that feeling and understand, oh, I went through this when she died. Now I can see this in a different perspective. Now I'm more spiritually aware of things. Now I can find a way to connect, and the way you do that, folks, is with love. With compassion, love. I wrote something on Facebook a few days ago about that, but now that's why I can connect in a more healthy, positive way and not have slamming doors and banging basement doors. But that was freaky. That was a freaky time.
Yeah, definitely freaky. I know they hang out after they leave, because several days after my dad passed, I was staying with my mom, kind of, because she'd been married to my dad for about 57 years. So this was the first time they hadn't been together in all that time. And I was sitting on the bed where my dad usually sleeps, and my mom's right there, and I've got my little earbuds in, and she's watching TV, and all of a sudden I hear my dad's voice. And it was kind of like a digital, but it was enough to recognize his tone. And he said, Laurie. And I was like, oh my God. I ripped and it was in one ear only. It was in my left ear. I ripped the earbud out. I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, Dad just said my name in my ear. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I said, I'm not kidding. I swear to you, he just said my name. And so that's how I know that they really like to hang out and see what you're doing. Yeah. Amazing. I wanted to move on to some orbs. Some of you have seen these orbs in the past, like Truth Seeker. I've shown these on Pureloveascension, but they're always very interesting. And I thought, we do have a lot of new people, and maybe you'd like to see these. But this first orb I call the porch orb, and this was right after my dad had passed and my favorite aunt had passed, and this was at her daughter's house. And we really feel like it was my dad and my Aunt Loretta. So I'm going to show you this clip really quick, and just follow this. It's quite interesting. Here we go. So this was on the ring. This is early in the morning, 2:23 in the morning. And this was 2021. And you can see the way these orbs are moving. This is kind of like climbing up.
Yeah.
Now it's going to come back towards the house.
Comes across the top of the garage door and goes into the vent into the house.
And then goes in.
Yep.
Isn't that
see how round it is?
Yeah. Now here we go. I'll show it again. I'll show you again.
This is not now.
Comes up out of the ground almost. Look how solid that is.
And do you see, you all, that there's no beam of light in front of it or behind it, so it's not a flashlight or a headlight?
Nope, it's not a headlight. It's 2:30 in the morning, basically.
And here's the key, you guys. It goes behind the bush. You see? It comes out. So whatever's moving isn't a reflection going across the face of the bush. It's going behind the bush and coming out and up above.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there it
That's
goes.
so cool.
It disappears. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now.
Yeah, that has no earthly explanation.
When I started, I had a new shop, and I've since closed it and retired. And I had a shop for about 14 years, and I put up these 4K cameras, and all of a sudden, my guys are telling me that they're seeing things on the camera. And I was like, all right, well, let's take a look at it. This first one is kind of, it's a famous little clip here. This is in my office. And this orb comes out of the floor, comes up onto my desk, and then shoots above my chair. So watch this. Teresa?
Yep, there it goes.
Would you?
There it comes, up on the table. See it? Going up over the chair. Run it again, Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a look at the beginning of this video, something manifests in the middle of
Watch
the
the floor. It comes up off the floor and then onto the desk. Okay, here we go.
All right, see the middle of the table? Now it's going to hop down on the floor, head over to the doorway, starts to manifest, comes back around, comes over the chair like a slinky and up onto the ceiling.
And shoots off.
And when we froze the frame of it down on the floor as it twisted and turned around, like it changed its mind, it started to try to manifest, and we blew that up, and you could see a figure in there getting more and more solid.
Yeah.
And then for some reason it couldn't hold the energy and went back into its
state. So a few nights later, this happens in the main part of the shop. Watch this. See these things shooting across the floor? They're all over the place. There. See them?
Yep.
Let me hit that again.
They seem to come from, which ones are, okay, see the, okay, so they look like they're coming out of the cracks in the floor, and those aren't really cracks, they're seams.
Mm-hmm.
And Laurie didn't have any openings. In other words, she kept really good care of that. And then some of them were coming out of the wall.
See them shooting all over the place? Here they are. So these are the reports I get the following day when I come in. They're like, you need to look at this. Here's another one. Let me show you this. See, they're just like, it's like snowing orbs. Here's another one. And you can really see these. See them on the left side there? Just all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now you talked to a psychic, didn't you, about that?
Yeah, it had something to do with the land, very much like Hannah's situation and also Sophia's. It has to do with the land. And this was kind of farm area back in the day. And this is located in Sparks, Nevada, on Prater Way, off of Prater Way. So it was all farmland around here back in the day. But you can you see there's so much activity going on.
Yeah.
It's snowing orbs. So who was it? It was Motherella. When she came on our show, we were talking about it. She said, yeah, it definitely had to do with the land. So what I did was a few weeks later, I thought to myself, okay, this is my space, my area. I'm going to see if I can do this little experiment. What I did is I got down on my hands and knees underneath my desk. I slapped my hands together, and with intention, I threw my hands down onto the concrete. And with that thought, I just threw a bunch of energy out and cleared everything out. Like, this is my space. I'm in control. I'm taking it back. And you all have to go now. And as soon as I threw my hands down on the ground, on the pavement, I could feel the energy shift. And we never had another orb after that, as soon as I took command of the space. And that was really something when I did that. And that's when I understood how powerful you are as a human being and as a spirit being, that all you have to do with your intent is chase them out, and I did. And we never saw another one on the
You closed the opportunity, the doorway.
Yep.
Also, of that connection with your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Robert is saying they come out late at night. Well, yes and no. There's two things going on. I think they're
that
around
was
us
6
all the
o'clock
time.
at night on around 6 o'clock, and so it was right after we had left for the day.
Right. So the question I have is, it seems now that I come to an understanding that they're around us all the time.
Oh yeah.
So I don't care if it's day or night. It's just that with orbs, since they're self-illuminating, you see them better in the dark, Robert, I think. I think that's what's going on. And Cordia was just on here. She was our first story, and she was telling us that she sees orbs in the broad daylight when she's walking down the street, Robert, in a crowded fairgrounds or a festival grounds or on this public street. And she sees them hovering over other people. They're other people's orbs that they carry with them. Could that be our guardians? Could that be the guardian angel that's assigned to us, or that guardian energy?
Well, that's the feeling that I got from an orb that I photographed inside my own house, where when I blew it up, it shows the face of a monk, and I had the distinct feeling that this guy was like protected in some way.
There are more spirit beings than there are human beings out there, so it makes sense to me that they're going to be all over the place. Yeah, fascinating.
I would have to agree, Robert. Yes, I don't think we look at. We're just not looking for them. Cordia has seen them since she was an infant, hovering over her crib. So she's at that frequency. She has no veil. She has no filters. Laurie and I were talking about it the other day. The thing with Cordia is she doesn't have filters. So she tracks them.
And we never saw, we never saw them in there. I mean, they were all over the place. You couldn't see them physically with your eyes, but the 4K camera picked them up. And they only pick it up when nobody was there. When people were there, you didn't see anything like that.
Yeah. We just, Hannah just fell over.
She'll figure it out first. She'll figure it out.
Is she okay? I mean, she just went face first. Okay.
She'll be all right. It's just the camera.
All right. Yeah. It's like, what?
It's all good. Hang on a minute here. I'm trying to get her back in. There she is. You okay?
There
Hannah? You took a
I saw you just
fall.
take a FaceTime, man.
It's my third
plant.
What's in your candy,
was it
baby?
you? Was it you or the ghost?
It was the orb.
It was the orb? Okay. That's too funny.
The orb knocked her out.
Yeah. Did anybody else have anything? Yeah, go ahead.
The thing is that some of us see auras. Some of us see orbs around people, I guess. And it's just, for me, it's like confirmation that
it's just energy, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's just energy. You're viewing it, you're seeing it, you're feeling it. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Go ahead, Hannah.
Thing, like depending on, because my youngest sister sees orbs, and I see auras sometimes. So, wouldn't they be like the same thing, but different ways of experiencing it?
It might be the way that you see it. It could be the way that they want to be seen. You just don't know. Yeah. Maybe that's, just the way that they want to manifest. And you got to remember too, they have different levels of being able to manifest as well. So you got to remember that just because they're in spirit doesn't always mean that they're on to everything. So they have limitations as well. Yep. Some do, some don't. Yeah. Really interesting.
Well, we're at the 1 hour and 14
minute
mark.
Yeah, so I do have something a little extra I wanted to show you, and it's not really ghostly, but it is very beautiful. Kelly, my sister, takes some of the most amazing pictures. She has a beautiful home in the south end of town here, and she's got this gorgeous view of Mount Rose, the Sierra Nevada mountains. And I thought to end the show, I would show these for you and give you an October sky in Reno, Nevada. So here we go. Isn't that something? Look at that. Beautiful.
Wow.
About sunset, right out her back door, her patio. This is her sanctuary. See how beautiful that is? Yep.
Wow, that's
beautiful. Yeah.
Nice.
It's just gorgeous. And the trees and the color, it's just beautiful at fall. And then this was out my back window, about the end of it, and it just got real beautifully purple and pinks and really something.
Nice.
Yeah.
She takes some high quality photos.
Doesn't she? Yeah. One more time, I'll just go through them real quick because it's really spectacular. Kelly does an amazing. She just gets all kinds of really cool shots. So I had to share that with you guys and show you a little bit of this side of the earth here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Sophia, my dear, tomorrow's a big day for you, Sophia.
It is.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
So what's involved in the graduation? What do they do for you? What's the
seeker level?
Seeker is the first level of proficiency of the levels available at Camp Chesterfield. Basically, we wear gowns and they pronounce, they say our name and we get our certificate. And depending on the level of proficiency, there's different aspects to it once you get further up. And then we have a reception and
we're losing her. We're losing her.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Come on, hotspot.
There she goes.
There it is. Okay.
We lost you for a while there, Sophia.
We lost you for a few seconds. We heard about the robes you get and the certificate, and they got some goodies for you.
You get a robe?
We rent them. It was just a rental because different levels have different colored robes. Like I'll be wearing light blue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ew, light blue.
You don't mind me stepping in for a second. She's being very humble. This is a huge honor. It takes a lot of work, and we actually call it consecration because it's a devotion to spirit and to God and to our process of bringing a positive message to humanity. So yes, this is very big for her.
Awesome. Thanks, Black Raven. Thank you for that. Yeah, we know it's a big deal. Yeah. And she's worked really hard at it.
Yeah, we do. Congratulations.
And have a wonderful time.
We wish we were there with you and take video clips or something.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to take video.
But... No video?
Yeah, that's right.
No video. Oh, that's right. You can't do that. I forgot.
Yeah,
let's snap a photo of her in her robe. I want to see the robe.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, if you could do that, that would be awesome.
You're going to have
like, That's great. Wonderful. Well, you guys... I want to thank everybody tonight. Teresa, thank you for being your ghostly self. Delabor, always a pleasure to have you on. Grandpa Brian,
pleasure to be on.
Have a wonderful weekend. Hope, thank you for sharing your story. That was an amazing clip, no doubt about it. Sophia, Black Raven, thank you for being here. And Black Raven, thank you for saving the day for Sophia. We appreciate it. Hannah Ray, thanks for having the guts to come on here and share your story, as well as Cordia. Thank you so very much.
Can you just move your head a little bit to the left, Hope? Can you move your head?
Yeah. She's going to take a bite of those candy corns up there. I'm wanting one right now. I want to bite the part off and then go for the orange.
Well, Hannah, it was nice to meet you. Black Raven,
yes,
so glad.
Good to meet you.
Cordia had to split, and she's in the chat room.
Yeah.
Love to have
You're
you
welcome
guys
anytime,
on.
ladies. Anytime. Yep.
Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate you being here. Yep. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Watch for the trailer. You'll see what's up. Appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful Halloween. Stay safe and
happy Halloween.
Stay sweet.
Happy Halloween.
There you go.
Who the hell was that?
That was Sophia.
That was Sophia.
That was good.
Lori can do it better. Do it, Lori.
That was really good.
Lori can do it. Here she goes. No, we didn't even hear it. We didn't even hear it.
Yeah, you did. Take care.